but you're giving that voice to the person you're seeing. So you actually convince yourself that that person doesn't like you before they can even tell you that. I've definitely self-sabotaged before. I know you have.
I do all the time. It's really common in anxious avoidant relationships where one is anxious, one is avoidant, and that's like the most popular relationship style. So there's a lot of sabotage going on.
Yeah. So there are basically 3 main reasons why people self-sabotage, and they are past trauma, fear, and low self-esteem. So
I got all those.
a hat trick. So trauma is basically like if you have unresolved childhood trauma or past relationship trauma, that can affect the way that you act in your current relationship. So this can cause issues with trust, anxiety, depression, abandonment, rejection, blah, 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 all of the above, right? And this unresolved trauma can cause sabotaging behaviors that we do subconsciously, and they end up putting our real life relationships at risk for the ones that we're basically remembering in our mind. And it can really fuck you up. There's fear, which is either like feeling afraid of things getting really serious, or feeling afraid that you're going to get hurt, or being afraid that like you're eventually going to do something that's going to fuck up the relationship, so you just want to do it immediately and get it over with. It can be really, really hard to open up, like in any situation. And I think that fear is like super common in terms of like, oh, I think it'll end poorly and I just want to get ahead of it so it'll hurt less if it happens now rather than later. And then the last one is low self-esteem. So if you feel bad about yourself, you will end up pushing your partner away because you don't feel like you deserve the love that that person is trying to give you.
That's my favorite thing to do, actually.
That's your preferred?
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, that and the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trauma and self-esteem.
Yeah, trauma of abandonment and having low self-esteem because of abandonment and like fat shaming.
The self-esteem I thought was interesting too, because basically what'll happen is you will negative self-talk yourself so much. So you will be in your head being like, you're not worthy of love, you don't deserve XYZ things, but you're giving that voice to the person you're seeing. So you actually convince yourself that that person doesn't like you before they can even tell you that, or you like make it up in your head. Those all felt like when I was reading these, I was like, those make sense. Those make a ton of sense. Like there's not really, any like, I wasn't super surprised by this, but it was one of those things where it's like, I think more people probably self-sabotage than even realize it or want to acknowledge that they do it.
I think most self-sabotage is subconscious, and that's why a lot of people seek therapy, to be like, why are all of my relationships going the same way?
Right.
And then they start to see a pattern of the people they're dating. It's not that only this type of guy wants them or this type of girl wants them. It's what you are selecting. My brother sent me this meme a few weeks ago, and he was like, this is a tweet. I told my homegirl I attract fuckboys. She was like, you're a woman, a pretty woman. You attract everyone. Then you chose fuckboys. My brother, who's like 32, sent me that. But he's right.
Yeah, that's also, I feel like that's a really good example too of like what self-sabotage can look like, is literally just picking people who you know are bad for you.
Yeah, but you don't consciously know that they're bad for you.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, I feel like this advice is good for someone who, like you said, maybe a lot of your relationships have been failing and you're like, what could be the problem?
And if they're like the same type of guy, the same type of thing keeps happening.
Or maybe not even the same type of guy, but like literally just like what keeps happening. Like it might be you. It might be you. Like even with like your self-sabotaging is dating one type of guy. Yeah. But other people's might be like, I'm finding all these great people, but I keep negative self-talking and that's like pushing them away. True. I keep not communicating with them and that's what's pushing them away. Yeah. So like maybe you're trying a whole variety and nothing's working out, and it might just be you, and you might just need to go to therapy and figure out what your unresolved trauma, fear, or self-esteem issues are.
There's that. Like, I don't think it's super helpful to just like try to date the opposite of what you would do, or like having your friend swipe for you. I think it's important to understand like what's happening and why you are attracted to that type of person. A lot of people date me. I dated a lot of emotionally unavailable people. I didn't know that they were emotionally unavailable, and I didn't know that I was emotionally unavailable. So there's a lot of work you have to do to uncover like what's going on.
Right.
And then as long as you're working on yourself, which a lot of guests have told us, then you can keep dating.